We live and work in a city that's vibrant, that is recognised throughout the world as a place of culture, of diversity, of social engagement, of good sports, and of play. And building a wind turbine on the edge of the city centre, 120 metres tall, will be a massive statement for the whole industry, for the whole country indeed. And this isn't about people that wear sandals and caftans and tree huggers. This is about real people. This is taking technology with renewables onto the street, making it so it's in your face, it's real, and it's lovable. To wind up really, Manchester City, we have lots of pledges around environment, we have lots of pledges around renewables and the technology of wind turbines, for example. We live and breathe those beliefs, and when we make pledges about reducing carbon emissions, and we were the first football club ever to reduce a carbon footprint last year, and an environment impact report, we actually act upon what we say we're going to do. I'm not going to go through all of those, but you can see that this wind turbine project is just part of a whole range of things that the club's involved in and is measuring and is reporting on. And finally, there's lots and lots more that we do. We want to engage with young people right across our city. We work in 411 schools in Manchester and Tameside, amongst a population of just under 750,000 people. And we're not stopping here. This year's Schools Enterprise project, which will involve 11 high schools from the city, is actually going to task the young people from those schools to design a water wheel that will sit in the River Medlock at Sports City, and it will have to generate power for street lighting and other domestic uses. And they will be judged as in a competition by the Joint University of Manchester next March. When we make good statements, not good statements about this is our city, Manchester, it's warts and all. We can't make statements like that without understanding things like environmental impact, the health of the community, poverty, job opportunities, investment, sustainability. They're real important issues, and the club lives and breathes them. That's Manchester City. Huge wind turbine project, one part of what we're up to in terms of our environmental development. Thank you very much.
As I think you all heard, apparently, Phil Speakton is on his way, but we do have a bit of time for questions. Just to note to yourself, turn off the microphone when you leave the room. So do we have any questions for Keith? Okay.
I think it's fantastic. A big football fan myself. Considering the actions you've taken, have you had any influence on other big clubs? Would you use your stand of excellence now to reach Manchester United, some of the other big players in the Premier League? Have you had any contact with CSR managers? You said there's none in positions, but have you tried anything to initiate contact with these other clubs?
Yeah, again, it's a good question, because in terms of the industry and the sector, it's important to share good practice. The good news is that at least one Premiership club at the moment is looking very seriously at a whole range of energy opportunities and wind turbines, and that's the London club, Arsenal Football Club, is looking at that at the moment. Manchester United actually have a good track record. It's not often I say anything nice about them. They've got a good environment manager. He's concentrating lots of his work on CH. Don't quite understand how and why, but that's what they're doing. But interestingly, the Premier League itself is working right across the sector at the moment to encourage all clubs to develop environmental impact reports, to look at energy development and their practices, and look at where they can learn and develop, not just from clubs like us, but from other industries and other sectors. So it is happening, it's being led by the Premier League, and we're very much involved in sharing that information, and still learning from others as well.
Hi, Jerry from Cool. I was just going to ask, what kind of assistance do you get from Manchester City Council in terms of any funds that they gave you, or special planning rules or whatever?
Again, I have to say that I am sometimes critical of the City Council, particularly in planning, but I have absolute total support from the City Council. The Sports City site is a mixed bag of development, and it was funded from people like Sporting and the North West Development Agency and the National Lottery and others. So in terms of our stakeholders, we've had to make sure lots of them are on board. The City Council has huge ambition for renewable energy and wants over the next few years to see, for example, a number of large wind turbines around the city. So this is very important to them to see this happen. But what they helped us with in particular was the local consultation, working with local communities, local people, to the point where we got to planning and there wasn't an objection, where we took local people to Swaffham in Norfolk, for example, to look at wind turbines and how they affect the community there, and they had a great time and actually understood the benefit of them. So that was important. And the only requirement really from the council as part of this, there's no real conditions, but the expectation from the council is that we continue to undertake our work with schools and other communities in terms of education around renewables and the opportunities it presents, and we do that with absolutely no hesitation at all.
Hi, Stuart Hohenheim from CETA. Just taking on board the shampoo example from this morning. You guys are dealing with your footprint of your operation. What are you doing to help your fans and others reduce their carbon footprint from attending and doing the hard cultural change, I suppose, for the fans as well as doing your own facility?
Okay, well, unfortunately, we still have enough fans to sort of actually important. The stadium is a 48,000 seat stadium, and the average attendance last year was 43,000. In terms of concerts, we typically have 3 or 4 concerts a year, and they attract 65,000 people a time. And a concert could be 3 nights rather than 1 night. So it's a huge number of people. What we do is we certainly encourage the use of public transport and work with the Greater Manchester PTE to make sure there are appropriate transport opportunities. And that, some of that is a legacy from the Commonwealth Games and the work we did at the Games to make sure that people didn't have to use cars. We've also developed a number of safe walking routes. So, for example, from the central Manchester and Piccadilly train station, and this year from the universities communities, we developed a number of safe walking routes that are well signposted, are well lit, are staffed and secured with security people and the police before and after matches and concerts for a given period of time. They are advertised, that information is sent with tickets, and as Sports City develops, we're about to open a new tram station, so that the tram system from the city will actually come into Sports City in about 12 months' time. So that's all part of that ongoing development. We measure how people get to and from games. Other than Newcastle United, we have the greatest amount of walk-up of any football club in the Premiership. Even the London clubs don't meet us, and I'm pleased to say, very pleased to say, that in the last 12 months I've closed down 3,500 car parking spaces. Okay.
Thank you. Robin Smith from the Carbon Rationing Action Group. Thank you very much for your talk. What sort of feedback are you getting from your entire fan base on what you're doing here? I mean, how much do they really care about this? And I think it's been partly answered in the last question, but what do they really care about this?
The fans actually, depends how you ask the question, what the fans want is us to be top of the Premier League, to have won the FA Cup and be champions of Europe, full stop. That's what they pay their season ticket money for. And I'm sure one day that's where we're going to be. Whether I'll be around, I think it's a different matter, but that's what they want. You know, and if you're paying money to any organisation, you're